Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're
Yeah.
going to crack open a chapter
Yeah.
from Hypersphere.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you,
Okay.
this is no ordinary book.
Oh.
We've got excerpts
Okay.
that are a wild mix of internet forum chaos,
Mm-hmm.
bizarre characters like
Right.
Mike Cuthers the Space Jew, and even Donald Trump
Yeah.
making an appearance. Or two. Get ready for a wild ride.
It's fun.
What's fascinating about this chapter is how it uses all these seemingly random elements to create a sharp critique of modern society. It's like the author is holding up a funhouse mirror to our world, distorting it to reveal some uncomfortable truths.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
The chapter starts with a letter from Donald Trump.
What?
It's dated 2015.
Okay.
Which feels significant, considering when the book was published.
Makes sense.
But the content, it's just bizarre
Fruits.
claims about
About what?
pandimensionals.
Yeah. Wow.
Accusations of child molestation.
Oh, jeez.
Even saying he thinks he's a gay vegetable.
Oh, my goodness.
What's the author's game here?
It's definitely meant to be unsettling.
Yeah.
But remember, this is a work of fiction, and the author is playing with our perceptions of reality.
Yeah.
This distorted version of Trump sets the stage for a chapter that's going to constantly challenge our assumptions. It also establishes a tone of dark humor that runs throughout.
Okay. And then we're suddenly thrown into the middle of an internet forum thread.
Uh-huh.
It's pure chaos.
Yeah.
A user repeating the same phrase about
what?
unwanted input. Someone searching for Leopold.
Oh, wow.
And then declarations of love in Japanese.
Wow, that's
It's like the author threw a bunch of random internet comments into a blender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the point, isn't it? The author's capturing the frenetic, often meaningless nature of online communication.
Right.
Think about how this chaotic thread contrasts with the more personal, though equally unsettling letter from Trump.
Right.
It highlights the difficulty of finding genuine connection in a digital world.
This raises an interesting question.
Oh, what's that?
Are these disconnected voices in the forum symbolic of something larger in the chapter or even in society as a whole?
That's a good question.
We jump from this chaotic online space to two very distinct characters.
You're right.
Mike Cuthers the Space Jew, who's on this bizarre quest to recover his foreskin.
Oh, wow.
And the patricianoid, this hypercritical reptilian judging everything in existence.
That's a lot to judge.
Where do they fit into this narrative?
These characters, as outlandish as they seem, tap into some deep-seated anxieties about identity and belonging.
Okay.
Mike Cuthers is desperate to shed his Jewish heritage, believing that reclaiming his foreskin will somehow free him from those cultural expectations. But is it really that simple?
It's like he's trying to literally cut away a part of himself to fit into a different mold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have the patricianoid who represents a kind of detached intellectual critique that can feel just as limiting. Their interactions highlight the complexities of identity and the struggle to define ourselves on our own terms. What do you make of the author's choice of names for these characters?
It feels deliberate, doesn't it? Mike Cuthers, the Space Jew. It's such a loaded phrase. And then patricianoid evokes a sense of elitism and judgment.
Absolutely.
Like the author is playing with stereotypes and forcing us to confront our own biases.
Forcing us to look in the mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then just when you think it can't get any weirder, Donald Trump is back.
Oh, wow.
But this time as a character within the story itself. He's depicted as powerful ruler facing a potential challenge from a child he fathered with a woman named Emma Sexton, who of course named their son Bern after Bernie Sanders.
Of course she did.
Of course she did.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. Yet it also feels like a pointed commentary on the political climate at the time. What's interesting is how this portrayal of Trump as a Caesar contrasts with the earlier letter.
Yeah.
He's still a flawed figure, obsessed with power and masculinity.
Makes sense.
But now he's operating on a much larger, more dangerous stage.
Yeah.
The author uses satire
right.
to expose Trump's flaws, highlighting his egotism and the often absurd nature of his pronouncements.
Right.
But there are also these subtle moments of social commentary woven in, like the line elsewhere, "A Mexican boy weeps."
Oh, wow.
Which reminds us of the real-world consequences of his actions.
Right.
It's a jarring shift in tone, but it's effective.
Yeah.
It's like the author is saying.
What are they saying?
Hey, don't forget the human cost of all this absurdity.
Yeah, that's an important point.
Speaking of jarring shifts, we're then introduced to Fido, a dog owned by a character named Egbert Eggberg.
Okay.
But Fido doesn't stay a dog for long.
Oh, really?
Does he?
No.
No, he doesn't.
What happens?
He encounters Emma Zizek, daughter of the philosopher Slavoj Zizek.
Yeah.
And she
does what?
She upgrades him to a chimpanzee.
Oh, wow.
It's described so casually as if
like what?
Changing a light bulb.
Oh.
But this transformation is central to the chapter's exploration of identity and perception.
Okay.
Is Fido fundamentally different as a chimp?
I don't know.
Or is it all about how others perceive him?
It's like the author's asking what defines us. Is it our biology, our experiences, or how others see us?
And this new chimp identity propels Fido on a journey with Emma to confront Trump.
Oh, okay.
Which leads them through hyperspace,
Interesting.
a realm described in vivid, almost psychedelic detail.
Wow.
This journey is where the author really pushes the boundaries of reality.
Okay.
The descriptions of the hyperwarp are disorienting, almost nightmarish.
Yeah, right.
And it's clear that both Fido and Emma are being pushed to their limits.
It's like a bad acid trip.
It's like a bad acid trip.
Yeah.
But with more existential dread.
Yeah.
What do you think the author is trying to achieve with this section?
Yeah.
Is it just about creating a sense of otherworldly chaos? Or is there something deeper at play?
It's definitely about pushing the boundaries of perception and challenging our understanding of what's real.
Yeah.
Remember, this entire chapter is like a journey through a funhouse mirror, distorting our familiar world to make us question everything we think we know.
And after this wild ride through hyperspace, Fido and Emma arrive at their destination.
Oh, okay.
The 9th room, which is filled with...
Filled with what?
Countless naked statues of Donald Trump.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, that's an image.
Yeah.
I won't soon forget.
It's both comical and unsettling, isn't it?
It is.
These naked Trump statues represent his egotism, his obsession with image and self-aggrandizement. And then, as if summoned by these statues, Trump himself appears and starts explaining how he became this galactic despot. It all started, of course, with a trip to the 8th room.
Oh, right, the 8th room.
Where he could get his own dick sucked by his future self.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Did I hear that correctly?
You did.
I did.
It's a shocking image.
Yeah.
But it's also a brilliant piece of satire. The author is suggesting that Trump's downfall, his journey to ultimate power, was fueled by his own narcissism and desire for self-gratification.
This concept of the 8th room is fascinating.
It is.
It plays with ideas of time travel and the consequences of their actions.
That's right.
But it also raises questions about identity.
Mm-hmm.
If you could meet your future self, would you even recognize them?
That's a great question.
Right.
And it leads perfectly into the next section of the chapter where we get a transcript of a conversation between Trump, his patented ego, which is also named Donald Trump, and God.
Now that's a conversation I'm dying to hear.
Oh, yeah, me too. This is where the chapter takes like a philosophical turn, you know? God reveals that their universe is essentially meaningless, a farted excretion of something else. It's a bleak revelation, delivered with the author's signature dark humor.
It's almost comical yet deeply unsettling.
Right.
To think of the universe as this cosmic afterthought. You know? After all that buildup, all that chaos and absurdity, it turns out that nothing really matters.
Yeah.
It feels like a gut punch.
Yeah.
Even to us as readers, not just the characters.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But think about it this way.
Okay.
If everything is inherently meaningless, as they suggest, does that give us even more freedom to define our own purpose?
Yeah.
What do you think this revelation means for characters like Emma and Fido who are searching for something?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Maybe meaninglessness isn't a nihilistic dead end, but rather a blank canvas.
Exactly.
But before we get too deep into existentialism, let's step back and consider how all these pieces fit together.
Okay.
We've got identity, reality, power, ego, even religion.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
It is.
How does the author weave these seemingly disparate elements into a cohesive narrative?
The key is satire. The author uses humor and exaggeration to critique aspects of modern society, from our obsession with celebrity to the often absurd nature of online discourse. Remember that chaotic internet forum thread? It wasn't just random noise. It was a reflection of the fragmentation of communication, the rise of echo chambers, and the difficulty of finding genuine connection in the digital age.
So it's not just about the internet itself, but rather using the internet as a metaphor for something bigger.
Precisely. It's about how technology has shaped our relationships.
Our sense of self and our understanding of the world around us. And this theme of distorted reality is echoed in the hyperwarp sequences where the characters' perceptions are constantly challenged.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about Mike Puckother's quest to recover his foreskin?
Yeah.
It felt so bizarre.
It did.
But it must be symbolic of something.
Definitely. It's a satirical exploration of identity politics and the complexities of cultural heritage. Mike Puckother's feels alienated from his Jewish identity and believes that by literally reclaiming a part of his body, he can somehow escape those societal expectations. It's like he's trying to physically alter himself to fit into a different mold. But will it really work?
So he's running away from one form of judgment.
Exactly. And the irony is that his quest leads him
to a confrontation with the patricianoid. A figure who represents the very systems of judgment and categorization that Mike Puckother's is trying to escape. It's a cycle many of us can relate to. This desire to define ourselves while also breaking free from the labels society imposes upon us.
Okay, now I'm starting to see how these seemingly random elements actually work together to create a bigger picture. It's like a giant, bizarre puzzle.
It is.
Where each piece, no matter how strange, contributes to the overall image. And at the center of this puzzle is Donald Trump, a figure who embodies so many of the themes we've been discussing. Power, ego, the distortion of reality.
He's this larger-than-life character who looms over the entire chapter, even when he's not physically present. And the way he's portrayed is fascinating. Simultaneously, a figure of ridicule and a source of genuine fear.
It's like the author's saying, look how absurd this guy is, but also be afraid. Be very afraid.
There's this underlying tension between humor and horror, satire, and genuine social critique. And that tension is never more apparent than in that final conversation with God. It's like the author is saying, okay, we've had our fun. Now let's get real for a minute.
That conversation really shakes things up.
It does.
It forces us to confront the meaninglessness of existence and grapple with the responsibility of creating our own purpose in a world that may not have one. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But it's also incredibly thought-provoking.
And that's the beauty of this chapter.
Yeah.
It doesn't provide easy answers,
right,
but rather challenges us to think critically and engage with these complex ideas on our own terms.
Right. So what does this all mean for us, the readers? What are we supposed to take away from this wild, mind-bending journey through Hypersphere?
I think the ultimate takeaway is that we have the power to shape our own reality, even in a universe that may be inherently meaningless.
Yeah.
We can choose to create meaning and purpose in our own lives.
Right.
It's a call to action, an invitation to engage with the world on our own terms, and embrace the complexities of existence with open minds and a sense of wonder.
Well said.
Thanks.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
But I have a feeling we've only scratched the surface of this incredibly dense and thought-provoking chapter.
Yeah.
It leaves us with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And inspires us to keep exploring.
Yeah, I agree.
What stands out to you as the most intriguing element of this chapter?
For me, it's the way the author blends philosophical concepts with absurdist humor.
Right.
It's a challenging read, but it's also deeply rewarding. It reminds us that literature doesn't have to be dry or academic to be meaningful.
Right.
Sometimes the most profound insights come from the most unexpected places.
I agree.
Yeah.
And on that note, let's dive into the final section of this chapter. Yeah. We've still got those naked Trump statues to unpack.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget about those.
Okay, so last we left off, we were picturing Fido and Emma standing in a hall full of naked Trump statues.
Yeah, it's quite the image.
It really is.
Perfectly captures the chapter's blend of the absurd and the profound.
Yeah.
It's like that the author is saying.
Yeah.
Here's everything wrong with our culture, laid bare in all its grotesque glory.
Right.
But there's also a sense of humor, you know? Kind of dark playfulness.
Right.
That keeps it from feeling too heavy-handed.
It's like the author is winking at us saying, I know this is all a bit ridiculous, but stick with me.
Yeah.
There's a point to this madness.
Right.
And then, of course, we have Trump's explanation
for
how he became a galactic despot.
Yeah, how to do it.
It all goes back to that mysterious eighth room.
The eighth room,
where he could supposedly get his dick sucked by his future self.
It's such a bizarre concept.
It is bizarre.
But it's so perfect, you know? It's so in line with the character the author has created.
Yeah.
It speaks to Trump's narcissism, his obsession with power and self-gratification.
Right.
And it also plays with those themes of time and identity that we've been talking about.
It makes you wonder if, given the chance, would we even want meet our future selves?
You're right.
What if we don't like what we see?
That's scary.
What if the eighth room shows us a future we're trying to avoid?
Those are some heavy questions.
They are.
But I think that's what this chapter does so well.
Yeah.
It takes these seemingly outlandish ideas
and
uses them to make us think about some really profound questions.
Right.
About ourselves and the world around us.
And then just when you think it can't get any weirder, we get that transcript of the conversation between Trump, his patented ego, and God.
Oh, wow.
It's a scene that flips the whole chapter on its head.
It does.
Revealing that the universe they inhabit is essentially meaningless.
Right.
A cosmic accident.
It's a bleak revelation.
It is bleak.
And yet, there's a strange sense of liberation in it as well.
Okay, how so?
If nothing really matters, then maybe that frees us to create our own purpose.
Maybe that's the ultimate message of this chapter.
Maybe.
In the face of absurdity and meaninglessness, we have the power to choose our own path.
I think you're right. Yeah. It's a reminder that even in a world filled with chaos and uncertainty, we have agency.
Yeah.
We can choose to embrace the absurdity, to find the humor in it all, and to create our own meaning.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
And one that feels particularly relevant today.
I think so.
We're living in a time where it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the absurdity of it all.
Yeah.
But this chapter reminds us that we're not just passive observers.
Right.
We have the power to shape our own reality.
And to find joy and meaning in the most unexpected place.
Absolutely.
This chapter is a wild ride.
It is.
But it's ultimately a hopeful one.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even in the face of chaos and meaninglessness, there's still beauty to be found, laughter to be shared, and stories to be told.
Well, I think we've done our best.
I think so, too.
To unpack this wild and wonderful chapter of Hypersphere.
It's a lot.
It's a chapter that challenges us, provokes us, and ultimately leaves us with more questions than answers.
And isn't that the mark?
I think it is.
Of truly great literature. It stays with you long after you finish reading, sparking new ideas and conversations.
Absolutely.
So if you're looking for a book that will make you think, make you laugh, and maybe even make you question the very nature of reality, I highly recommend checking out Hypersphere.
I agree with that.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.